Paul was living the dream. With 4 Nissan vans running as public service vehicles in Kisumu, money flowed into his pockets like the River Nile in full flood. His wife, Stacy, was the jewel of his life, stunningly beautiful, with a figure that could make a man somersault in daylight. She adored her body and spent her mornings scrubbing her heels with a soft stone, lotioning her creamy thighs under the warm sun, and shamelessly flaunting her curves. She wore no panties, and Paul watched her like a man hypnotized by a forbidden film. He couldn't help smiling as she glanced back at him playfully. "My wife, you're so beautiful. Your body is soft and sweet. I love you," he murmured, touching her gently. Stacy smiled proudly. "I love you too, my husband. You give me money and I lack nothing, more is coming. When I think of your beauty, I lose my appetite," he laughed. She grinned. "Don't die because of me." "Oh no, I'm not dying yet. I still want to feast on you with hot kisses," he teased, his eyes hungry with admiration. Paul adored Stacy endlessly. He showered her with gifts, sweet words, and endless affection. It was common to find the two of them sitting under the shade of a tree in their large compound, eating pizza and laughing like newlyweds. Paul even brought his friends from the bus park to admire his wife, proudly boasting about her beauty. They all agreed. He was the luckiest man alive. Stacy could easily win a Miss World crown, they said. Every Sunday, Paul drove Stacy to church in their best clothes. He made sure everyone saw them as they sat in the front pew. He gave generous offerings, not out of faith, but to show off his beautiful wife to the congregation. Stacy was a full-time housewife, and Paul preferred it that way. He believed if she went out often, another man would steal her away. Trust was not something that came naturally in their union. Stacy was like a prized bird tied to a golden rope. One day at the bus stop, Paul met his old schoolmate Leonard, a well-groomed man dressed in a black suit and red tie, arriving in a black limousine. Paul was excited to introduce him to his wife. Paul, filled with excitement, took Leonard to his home in Polyview Estate. Leonard was immediately captivated by Stacy's beauty. Unlike the rough bus park friends Paul usually invited, Leonard was refined, charming, and confident, an upgrade in Stacy's eyes. Paul, smiling proudly, asked, "Leonard, look at my wife." "Isn't she beautiful?" Leonard nodded politely. "Yes, she's very beautiful." Paul jokingly warned, "Don't try to seduce her." They all laughed, though Stacy and Leonard's eyes secretly exchanged a different message. While Stacy sat beside Paul brushing her long hair, she shot Leonard a sly glance. Quietly, when Paul wasn't looking, they exchanged phone numbers. Paul remained blissfully unaware of the storm forming right under his nose. But fate was not done with Paul. His once flourishing life began to crumble. One of his Nissan vans got into an accident and was left wrecked, uninsured. Another was taken by the bank for unpaid loans and auctioned off. The remaining 2 were old and constantly in the garage. Money stopped flowing. At home, the rich meals turned into plain boiled beans and skooma wiki. Stacy was disgusted. "I hate boiled beans. They make me fart," she snapped. Paul begged her to be patient, but her eyes had already turned cold. Stacy's patience was running out as quickly as Paul's fortune. She was tired of boiled beans, faded clothes, and promises of better days ahead. One evening, she slammed her plate on the table and cried, "I want fried chicken, not this poor man's food." Paul's voice trembled. "My wife, things are tough now, but I'll rise again. Just be patient." But Stacy was done. "No, I'm going to my parents' home until you get your life together," she declared. Defeated but still in love, Paul agreed. He drove her to the bus stop in one of his old smoking Nissans. The car coughed black smoke as if crying with him. "Sweetheart, don't stay long." "I need you," he pleaded. Stacy only smiled faintly. "Call me when you have money." He paid her bus fare, waved lovingly as she boarded, believing she was heading home. But the moment he left, Stacy walked back to the conductor, took her fare, and boarded another bus, this one heading to Nairobi. Not to her parents, but to Leonard. Leonard welcomed her into the city of lights, sin, and endless opportunity. Stacy quickly learned that her beauty was a currency, and in Nairobi, it bought everything: money, power, and men with deep pockets. Nairobi embraced Stacy like a long-lost queen. The city shimmered with bright lights, loud music, expensive perfumes, and men who spoke the language of money. Leonard introduced her to the glamorous lifestyle: classy restaurants, designer perfumes, silk sheets, and champagne under neon skies. Soon, Stacy discovered something powerful. Her beauty could unlock any door. Men followed her like bees chasing a blooming flower. Slowly, she drifted from Leonard too. She realized she didn't need love, only luxury. She transformed into a high-end escort, expertly navigating the hidden world of wealthy businessmen with loveless marriages and cold beds. These men wanted warmth, attention, excitement, things their wives could no longer give. Stacy became their secret paradise. Business boomed. She dressed in designer outfits, wore diamonds on her wrists, and smiled at the city through dark-tinted windows of her new black Toyota Prado. The same girl who once sat under the sun in Kisumu applying lotion now lived in a serviced apartment overlooking the city's skyline. While Paul struggled back home repairing old vans and eating alone, Stacy lived the soft life: money, men, and midnight champagne. She had truly become the firstborn daughter of sin, beautiful, dangerous, and untouchable. But the glitter of Nairobi did not last forever. The nights grew colder, the smiles from rich men became emptier, and Stacy's heart, once full of pride, began to feel painfully hollow. The money was there, the luxury was endless, yet peace escaped her like a shadow at dawn. She would lie on her silk sheets staring at the ceiling, haunted by the memory of Paul's gentle smile, the laughter under the tree, the man who loved her beyond money and beauty. One night, after entertaining another wealthy stranger, she stood by her window overlooking the lonely city lights. Tears clouded her eyes. She whispered to herself, "Was this really the soft life I wanted?" Her black Prado sat in the parking lot below, shiny, expensive, but meaningless. She picked up her phone, scrolled through her contacts, and paused on Paul's name. Her fingers trembled. She didn't call. Far away in Kisumu, Paul now lived quietly, fixing old vehicles and praying every night, not for wealth, but for Stacy's safety. He still loved her. Stacy wiped her tears, but they kept falling. Surrounded by everything she ever wanted, she finally understood. She had traded true love for temporary luxury. And now the emptiest room in her life was her heart.